Well, I reviewed the best Sesame Street live, the friendliest Sesame Street live, the party-filled Sesame Street live, the most magical Sesame Street live. Now it's time to review the most controversial Sesame Street live of all time. Well, here we are. My second Sesame Street live show, back in 2014. It wasn't the worst of all Sesame Street live shows, but slightly more worse than Out of This World. Everyone Makes Music debuted in 2001 and was revived numerous times in 2006, 2011, and 2016. I think I'm seeing a pattern here and I do not like it. With Everyone Makes Music, this show was loosely based off The Music Man, but the music teacher isn't a man who is a fraud and a big liar who wants to force the librarian into a relationship, and instead a nice music teacher girl who wants to find her trowel. With that, The Music Man is problematic, while Elmo Makes Music's only controversy is its oversaturation at revivals, which makes it my least favorite Sesame Street live show. Even though I don't like this show at all, I do like some elements, like Frank, whom Disney won't give another chance, and Sesame Street not inviting him to too much, sadly. And the show, though called Elmo Makes Music, features Bert and Ernie heavily, with Frank Oz providing the voice of Bert and Steve Whitmire providing the voice of Ernie. And yeah, I hate the understudy choices as well. Zoe could have been down for a speaking part, but it had to be Baby Bear again. Sadly, Prairie Dawn isn't in the version I saw, but Prairie prominently spoke in the original in 2006 remake. Grunjecta did have a substantial part, role in Oscar when he first appeared, but shows took this part out and resorted to the one used in Elmo's coloring book because it's more important to have these understudies showed off the letter and number of the day. Henker does nothing. There used to be two. The show starts with Bert and Ernie introducing us to the show and the letter and the number of the day. Ernie lets us know to remember them for later. After that, Big Bert, Abby Cadabby, Rosita, Elmo, Count, Cookie, Prairie Dawn, Baby Bear, Oscar, Grunjecta, Zoe, Grover, and Telly Monster welcomed us to Sesame Street and met Jenny. They all sing People in Your Neighborhoods as the different people of the neighborhood introduce themselves, including Berts, Monsters, Gretches, Counts, Bears, and Friends. The Count and Bear verses were included in the 2001 version but not other versions. Elmo asks if Jenny can teach him and his friends, but the truck hasn't arrived with the instruments yet. But luckily, Jenny teaches them to make music. And after that, Jenny teaches them to sing up the scale, with Count Von Count's help, after Count either had to exchange places with Cookie or take off his cape. Unfortunately, Jenny didn't have enough singers to sing up to 8. Count suggests that everybody out there should sing the number 8 to finish the scale. After that cool song, Big Bird and crew have a discussion about lost things as they start to stage a supers for Jenny. The show then comes to a complete halt for a slow song by Jenny about how she needs her truck or something like that. The show picks up again with Cookie Monster singing C is for Cookie, which he plans to give Jenny as part of the surprise. Jenny asks what's going on, but Ernie manages to distract her with the letter of the day, which turns out to be J. They all sing a song called Jazzy J, which wasn't in other versions have the show, but you know what was in all versions? The gospel alphabet. With tambourine solos from Prairie, Telly, Big Bert, Bert, and Ernie. Next to find a gift for Jenny is two fuzzy and blue monsters, Rosita and Grover. This is another thing I like about the show. They don't just describe Rosita as just a Latina monster, but also fuzzy and blue like the adorable Grover. They can't figure out what to give Jenny, so they sing about how metaphorically blue they are and tap around Oscar's trash can conveniently rolled in by Grunjecta. Oscar tells them to keep it up because it's the only music you can stand. Rosita and Grover encounter blacklight shoes and random dancers. It's Elmo's turn to figure out what to give Jenny, since that was just mentioned at the beginning of the What to Give Jenny part of the show, which leads into Elmo's World. I hate the set for Elmo's World in the show, which is just Sesame Street with piano and shade outed for convenience, because we can't make a full-blown Elmo's World. I would have used the set from Sunny Day Camp for this scene here. Elmo decides to give Jenny a drum with the help of a chaotic Mr. Noodle and Dorothy's conveniently different but in every show aquarium decoration. Big Bird then tells everyone that they're going to find more things to give Jenny and remind them to not tell her, which they won't for the next 15 minutes. Abby Cadabby and Cookie then tell everyone to put their balloons under the seats. Jenny then invites everyone to make music with her through a cute sing-along that originated in an episode from 1999. When the other characters leave after a number of the day reminds her, the Panic at the Disco meme is recreated on stage for Panic at the Disco fans, as Bert plans to give Jenny bottles to blow into. And when I went to see the show, I was looking forward to seeing the iconic Disco Bert, which was a gap throughout the two Annie Evans shows. Zoe shows off her Zoe mobile and plans to give Jenny a horn, while Telly Monster, one of my favorites at the time, plans to give her a triangle. The cover was almost blown, but Rosita, Prairie, Abby, and Zoe were able to distract Jenny by repeating the triangle cheer. Telly then raps about triangles, with Count Von Count and Henker joining in. Abby also manages to distract Jenny by showing her magic F-stitch, with Telly and Rosita thanking the audience. Baby Bear, another one of my favorites at the time. I was surprised that he was going to be in the show, considering he wasn't as popular like Zoe or timeless like Prairie Dawn, but it's at least good to hear an older Baby Bear as opposed to the newer versions. He planned to give Jenny a bassie made by himself. Big Bird tweets along with him to the tune of Rockin' Rollin' with Tangerine the Argentinian Cockatoo, Miranda a Mauritanian Mud, Eduardo the Flying Fandango, and Victor. That's it, just Victor. They both leave after Big Bird states he's a canary. On a side note, when I saw the show, my mind was like I knew these birds were from something, but I don't know what. That's because they're from the very first Sesame Street Live in 1980, and they appeared in 4 other shows: Silly Dancing, Around the World, Where's the Birdie, Save Our Street. Jenny wondered what the tweeting was about. Thank goodness this wasn't produced by Feld, because there would be a tear-witter joke, but Count states it's the number 8. After that, Count sings the baroque version of the theme song from Fame. I would have been fine with a disco version. In the original version, there was a Monster Clubhouse segment where they chased an extra sheep in elephant clothing, took a nap, and barely cared about what to give Jenny until 1 second later by giving her a clock. I would have loved to see that instead of a rehashed version of what was done in a previous show. Speaking of which, Elmo and Zoe, Abby in the version I saw, came back on stage to list what they've got so far for Jenny's gift. Oscar returns with his glorious pile of trash, which he starts to sing about noise. Yeah, thanks Elmo Makes Music, thanks for doing a much dampened down version of what happened in Elmo's coloring book. Elmo asks Oscar if he can use some of his trash, but Oscar detests. Good. Jenny comes back to sing about how much she needs a truck or something like that. Ernie came on and prevented the occasion of a third reprise, with the surprise finally being revealed. They showed off the incredible things they were able to give Jenny. Unfortunately, in the version I saw, homemade drums was not one of them. Jenny then thanks them for the music which worked for the show. But none of these future cared about them, but cared more about sidelining Zoe. They then sing the classic song Sing a Song, which was a heartwarming way to have these characters give high fives to the crowd, but I love it more when it's used in shows like Can't Stop Singing or Elmo's Coloring Book, where it's part of the storyline and not just fan service. The truck finally arrives, and they all form a band march, which is a more satisfying band ending than the Music Man. Harold Hill is a literal irony celebrated. Jenny had more of a right to celebrate than that horrible Music Man. She made more friends, and music means the world to her, and she had to sing it twice. Oh well. After that, Rosita says Viva la Musica, and Bert tells the parents to drive carefully. And I love the show because it doesn't have an Elmo loves you at the end, but instead Big Bird saying that he loves all of us. The curtain closes and confetti launches. Like the Music Man, it was generic. Only few songs had to do with the theme of music. The original songs were total peps, but the songs used feel like they're supposed to be fan service. Sure, I like People in Your Neighborhood, and I do love Fuzzy and Blue, but they only added them in for fan service reasons. The girl who played Jenny was super talented, but I do think the human character takes a lot of time and focus instead of characters like Bert, Ernie and Big Bird. I'm super glad Bert and Ernie had a more prominent role in the show, unlike a year prior, and the character choices were, again, generic. Sure, I like Baby Bear and Telly, but I feel like Dawn music would have worked in the show. They had the yip-yips, so why not this flustered and frustrated musician? Also, I hate the Prairie Dawn removal from the show. She's been a staple since 1981, and it feels disheartening to the workshop and female representation. At least the 2006 version had Roxy Marie. But like other musicals, the original version is so much better. Even though I hate the video screen smack dab in the middle, which is something the remake sort of improved on. I do like a lot of the songs in the show. And Prairie speaking once again is amazing after her 1990s wrestler, so thank you Elmo for the 14 years of music. And thank you Jenny for not being another Harold Hill who collects the Muppet money. And thank you Vincent E. Egan for creating such a wonderful tour that lasts longer than any Music Man run on Broadway. But still, 14 years is too much, and the revival is just okay. I know that it's unfortunate, but 2021 is the only year without a Sesame Street Live. But luckily, people who have the same spirit as Vincent E. Egan, the creator of Sesame Street Live, were able to keep it alive. Disney and Sesame Fan along with Jordan's Entertainment Channel recreated older Sesame Street Live shows, while people like me reviewed shows I saw. While Disney on Ice kept itself alive before it started touring again, it felt like Sesame Street Live was left in the dust. Sesame Street Live helps reflect Sesame Workshop's mission to becoming smarter, stronger, and kinder people. And to Big Bert and the entire cast of Sesame Street Live, welcome back. But in all fairness, if VE still owned the rights to Sesame Street Live, the first Sesame Street Live show they would bring back would be Elmo Makes music with no changes at all.